Hello and welcome to the Minimalist EDC. My name is Chris, and today we're going to do a little maintenance on this guy right here, the Tactile turn Rockwall. I'll tell you up front, it's something I'm not incredibly enthused about because of a few factors that we'll get into in just a few seconds. But the reason why we're going to do some work today is there's some gunk in there that's probably gotten in there from carrying it quite a bit, and so it will still fire, but the action is gummy and the detent is almost non-existent. See if you can hear that. I'm not sure the camera will pick that up, but there's a gritty sound when I close it, and the detent is almost non-existent. Like I can just kind of like push it out with my finger. So I think we just got some gunk in there, and we're going to try to take it apart, clean it. But one of the main reasons I'm not looking forward to this is Tactile Turn uses a free ball bearing system where the ball bearings are just loose in there. So as soon as I open it up, they may go scattering everywhere. They're not captured in a ring like most knives. So I've got my little plastic thing here to capture them in, and let's see what we can do. We got T8 hardware, which hopefully comes out pretty easily. And then pivot. Yep. So first thing, I can already see some grittiness in the pivot that we're going to clean out. And it looks like they had something in there that was some sort of thread locker. Can't tell what type, but we will see. So push that out. We'll clean that here in a minute. And so let's see what we can do to not send ball bearings everywhere. I'm going to attempt to just get these out with tweezers. Maybe, 'cause normally I just turn it over and pop them, but again, the scale may come off and no one wants that. Well, being a little bit difficult. So one of the things with this knife is it's got very high tolerances, so there's little to no space between anything. All right, well, the blade just popped out, and I stand corrected. So I thought these things were, these bearings were free, but they are captured actually. So I was getting my information from watching Nick Shabazz's video where he did a disassembly on the Rockwall flipper. And so the flipper had non-caged bearings, and that's what I thought I was going to be dealing with today. This is a very happy surprise. Okay, great. So the ball bearings, you can see, they are gritty. They are gross. They've got all kinds of pocket gunk in there. And that's one of the things, like with a hard use knife, like that's one of the benefits of washers is they don't fail as much when you have a high gunk situation. But call me pleasantly surprised. Let's see what we got here, because I have been dreading taking this apart simply before that reason. There we go. Got this guy off. And so you can see very clearly the inside of the scale here. Amazing millwork. Definitely reduces the weight. We got our little back spacer apparatus here that holds the pocket clip. Very unique. And so that's just going to sit. How did that sit? I guess like this. Yeah, like that. And we've got our spring tension lock bar. Yeah, this is awesome. And so has a little date on there, I guess 10/21. I have to go back and look at its paperwork, but I guess that's its birth date. And so let's get started. This is going to be easier than I expected, and I am pleasantly surprised. So first thing we'll do, we're going to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol to get away the gunk and the grime, and I'm going to clean off that lock bar as well to make sure that the detent goes back to working. So while I do this, I'm going to ask you to do what all YouTubers do, right? To like and subscribe. And one thing I don't hear a lot of YouTubers do is tell you why. Yes, it tells me that you like my content, or you may want future notifications of my videos. But what it also does is it teaches YouTube something. It teaches YouTube that you like this type of content, and the other people that make this type of content, to recommend my videos. So if you were, say, like this video, and you've also liked a Metal Complex and a Neves Knives and Not Your Average EDC and a Nick Shabazz video, well, the machine learns that and figures out that, oh, well, the people that also like those other videos may like this one too. And so when they get done watching someone else's video, it might show them mine and introduce them to something I'm doing. So if you like this, and this does help you out, I would appreciate the like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps me get discovered. So what I'm doing here is just taking a rough clean of the gummy gunky parts, and you can kind of see right now I'm just using paper towel. I'd probably use like a gun cloth or something if I had one on hand, but I just don't have any in the house right now, and I'm just trying to get as much of that gunk and grime out of there as possible. And so when you're doing this, don't confuse, like you see that ring in there, that's not gunk and grime, that is just the path that is worn by the bearings. So you're not going to get that off, and you just want to kind of get down to it. And so we got some screws here. I got the gunk off of the detent ball ramp. And speaking of that, I wanted to show you, this is something that I wish more knife companies would do. Get it to focus here. This little cut right here in the blade, this is the detent ball ramp. And so like when you close the knife, the detent ball travel, instead of having that hitchy feeling when you close the knife and it stops before the ball jumps up onto the blade surface, this makes it so much cleaner transition. And I'm working on putting a detent ball ramp in some of my other knives. I actually got this little set of diamond tipped drill bits, which link below if you're interested, that I'm going to put out some video content of how to cut these yourself to make an action a little bit more smooth. Alright, so I think we got most of the gunk and grime out of here, and you can see like what I'm working with. Like this thing was gummy, and I don't know if it show up on camera, but it's got a blue tint to it, so I can tell. I primarily wear blue jeans, so I'm confident it was just little threads and bits of denim that's getting in here after carrying it for so long, because this is one of my favorites. And so Tactile Turn is an interesting company. I'll just kind of talk while I'm working here. They started off with making pens, which I have a pen and pencil from them, which I really enjoy. Fantastic writing implements. And then they started into foray of knives, and so far they put out two, to my knowledge, that are just top notch. The Rockwall and the Bear. It's spelled Bexar, but that's just because Texans are silly. But there's some harder stuff in here. I bet that's just some Loctite that is on the lock surface. But everything they put out so far has been good. I haven't got my hands on a Bear yet. I'd like to, but slip joints just aren't my jam, so it's not something I'm going to actively pursue. But, if you're watching and you have one and you would like to send it in for a review, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it and then return it to you when I'm done. So here we got, our bearings. And yeah, we're getting a little bit more blue on the surface of this cloth here, but it's coming right off. Yeah, getting back to normal. And this one was a little dirtier to start off with. And all I'm doing is just lightly rubbing the bearing surfaces on the oil or the alcohol cloth and getting the surface clean. You don't want to go too hard because you'll actually strip off some of the fibers of your cloth and get it in there, and then you just have back to ground zero of having a gummy bearing. But things are looking pretty good. All right, let's see about getting this guy back together. We are going to use KPL for our lube on this guy. Let's I put a little bit in the bearing track. Put it on there. And I probably over lube, but quite honestly, like after a day or so, you can just wipe off the blade. It all comes out in the wash anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, we got number 1 in there. And we are going to find our pivot. One of the nice upgrades of the thumb stud model is we have a captured pivot, which you don't see on the flipper model. And just got to align that and get right in there. Perfect. So now we have the pivot in. We can get our blade in. Nestle right on top of there. Perfect. And again, I'm going to put a little bit of oil into the bearing track because it just kind of gets in there and will lubricate all the bearings as you move it around. Wonderful. And I think I have to get this piece on it this time. So yeah, it all Tetrises together, right? And then I'm going to put a little bit of lubrication on this guy right here. And I just need to match this hole up with that pin. And I think I've got it. And what else? My backspacer is trying to move around on me a little bit. What I'm going to do is get the body screws in to kind of hold it together. There we are, 1. And this will be number 2. Yep. They don't have far to go before they bite. Alright, before I put the last in, I'm just going to take a quick look around, make sure everything looks where it's supposed to be. Looks good. And so to keep it where I want it, I'm just going to use the slightest bit of blue Loctite, and you don't need much. Get it in there. Oh yeah. There we are. Oh. Still don't have much of a detent. Let's see what's going on. Maybe I just don't have it tight enough. Huh. Interesting. So, again, I'm not feeling a detent on this guy at all. And so, I've heard tale of detent balls falling out. Maybe I should check for that when it was open to begin with. Let's take a look. Alright, get these body screws loose. Okay. Yep, sure enough. Look at this. This is interesting, guys. So, right here is where the detent ball should sit, and it's gone. Just completely gone. I've heard of detent balls falling out and being lost, but this is the first time I've ever actually seen that. And so, yeah, there's no detent ball on this anymore. I'm gonna contact Tactile Turn and see if they have a warranty process I can reach out to them on and see what can be done in this situation. But yeah, this knife is not going to be exactly safe until I fix that. because with no detent, the blade is just kind of slings out wherever it wants to go. But I'm not going to make you sit through me putting it back together again. I'll get it put back together and contact Tactile Turn, and I'll post an update to this if I get one for you guys. But thanks for sitting through this disassembly and maintenance. I appreciate it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and thanks for being part of the community.